Hello, everyone. Lori here. Welcome to How Do You Spirit podcast. And I have Malori. She's just the
Hi.
cutest little thing. We're so excited to have her as our special guest today. Thank you
Yeah,
for
thank
being
you.
here. I was talking to Mallory just a bit ago before we went live, and she just has this really, I feel like, a very magical story. I was literally chilling up the whole time you were talking to me. I'm like, oh my God, I keep getting the chills. So I'm so excited to have her share her spiritual journey. And so let's start from beginning, like we talked about you from a very young age, right?
Yeah, so from a very young age, I just have always been very connected to spirit in general. My mom also has the same connection, so I definitely think I've got to thank her for the gift for passing it on.
Right?
It's a generational thing for sure.
Yeah.
But she always would just tell me that I would have these connections with spirits and talk to them, and I didn't quite remember it, or I would just remember being like, oh, like, there's so and so, da 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 da. And what do you mean? Where? And I've also had like kind of a traumatic thing that's happened with like a demon when I was a child. And
Oh,
like that was kind of what really
okay.
like solidified it for me to make it really real for me as a person.
Do you remember the demon experience as a child? So
Oh,
you
yeah.
remember that,
Yeah,
the scary part,
it was
right?
like terrifying
Yeah.
because it was like super dark at night. I just needed some water from downstairs. And the way that our stairs went, it was like it went down. It had like a platform. It had a giant window right here, but then it went down again. So it like zigzagged like this.
Uh-huh.
And I was going down the stairs. And as I was going down the stairs, I hear this bang on the window. And I look up, and it is just a demon casually outside of the window as I'm like a child. And I was like, there's no, like, as a child, you know, I more was reactive. I ran right back up into my
Right.
room, grabbed my dog, and I'm like, crying in my comforter. But yeah, no, it was like a terrifying
So,
experience, and I've had doors shut on me. Like,
child, how
Mhm.
how old?
I was probably like 4.
Oh, so that's super young.
Yeah.
See, I had scary experiences too, but I was more like entering teenage years. But so did you see like a dark figure?
Yeah, it looked kind
Like
of
a
like
scary-
pig-like. Like if I
Oh
had to
my
be like, if I had to
gosh!
go, yeah, like it scarred me. Like it mentally scarred me.
Oh my
But
gosh.
it was like very dark, and it had very creepy, like goldeny looking eyes, and it
Yeah.
like was like snarly and looked kind of like pig-likey, and it was just really weird and creepy, kind of like a bat, I guess, more
Yeah.
so than a pig,
Okay.
because it was smashed. And yeah, so I just remember it clear as day, and it didn't ever really come back around too much. But I remember like sometimes I think it's the same demon, because sometimes I'd wake up and I'd have like, you know, like maybe a scratch or maybe like a couple things that were on my
Oh
body,
my
and my mom was like,
gosh.
"What happened to you?" And I'm like, I don't know, you know, because like you're a kid, you don't know how to explain
Yeah.
that stuff. Like,
Are they going to even believe you, right?
well, yeah,
For
my
one
mom's
thing.
been my biggest believer, like, because she went to take me
That's
to the doctor, and
Oh.
he was like, no, I think that she just has like frightmares. Like,
Uh-huh.
and my mom was like, no, like she's awake when I go in the room. Like, she's not sleeping. She's not like screaming in her sleep.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I didn't even know that. Like, I didn't
Wow.
even know she had like wanted to take me to see somebody professionally, because she was worried about that, like what's wrong with her. And my mom's
Uh-huh.
like, no, I know what's going on, because my mom saw angels when she was a kid.
Okay.
Like, my mom's always said that she's grown up waking up and seeing angels playing with her toys. She got locked in a room by a very creepy spirit at one of her houses once. So
Oh
like
my
I definitely
gosh.
have to thank my mom for giving me the gift. That's all I have to say.
You definitely have the history, right?
Yeah, and I
Wow.
was like, so when I told her these things, it was actually really like confirming as a child to actually have an adult believe me. And like, I was attached to my mom as a kid. Like,
Uh-huh.
she was my best friend. I was so scared after I think that demon thing had happened that I used to build a bed right next to my mom and sleep on the floor right next to her in her bedroom, just
Yeah.
because I was like,
To feel safe.
yeah, it was like I had a hard time sleeping alone for a really long
I
time.
bet.
I couldn't even
I
go
would.
to sleepovers when I was a kid. I'd call my mom at midnight, can you come get me? I'm scared.
Right, right.
Yeah, and then so as I got older, I would just let things happen. I never really let myself like completely shut off from it to where I got like weird
Closed.
about
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
or like I feel like your generation and my mom's generation and older like was very shunned and shamed for having a
Yes,
spiritual connection or even
absolutely.
doing any of that. It was like
They would never believe you.
no, they would think you're like the devil or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
old witchcraft times, like hang
Uh-huh.
her. And I'm like, no, like this is real stuff that
Yep,
happens,
yep.
and sometimes we don't ask for it.
Right.
And so even
We're
as
so
I
lucky. No.
exactly, I'm so lucky. Sometimes I do feel lucky because
I do too.
it's hard because like like we were talking earlier, casually just see a blue orb that's just floating
Yeah,
around, and
yeah,
like
we
it
were
was cool.
sitting here and she tells me, "Oh, there's a blue orb." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Where? I don't see it."
We're talking about like connection to spirit, and then all of a sudden he just shows up right in the corner of my eye, and I'm all, oh hey, and it's
Somebody's
so funny.
visiting with us.
And then once you recognize them, I feel like they get shy sometimes. They're like, "Oh, I wasn't here," and they're like, "Let me leave."
You didn't see
yeah,
me.
I'm like, ah, and I'm like, "No, I saw you."
That's so
Yeah.
cool. I love it.
And so as my teenage years gotten older, my sister really got into crystals and stuff, and so like, um, this sounds probably bad to some people, but like for me personally, I had came across a hallucinogenic and I had taken it by myself in my
Okay.
room,
Uh-oh.
and I had a whole experience. It was great. It was actually
okay.
beautiful.
So,
It was
awesome.
great. Like I
Okay.
literally went downstairs and I like my sister got home and had bought in like all these crystals and stuff.
Were you down there like, ooh?
Literally, you got me. I was like, I'm seeing so many colors and auras and so many things, and I was like, I thought this just happened when I was sober. Like
Yeah.
this is intensified now.
Yeah.
And my sister was like, "What are you like? What do you
What's
want?"
going
And
on?
I told her, I was like, I did this. And so like I was sitting in my room and I was just like playing with this water bottle, and I was just like watching the water like move through, and I like had all these different like downloads of like things about myself and like kind of
Really?
coming to myself moments where I was like, oh, like this is just like who I am.
Yeah.
And I actually really liked it.
Uh-huh.
And I had a really great time. I laughed a lot by myself. I went on a walk by myself, and I just enjoyed my own energy and time. And I think that that's when I started to understand feeling energy like you talked about.
Yes.
Because I was like, yeah, I could see so many things. I've always had like a really open third eye, but like to be able to like feel things, to be like a Reiki practitioner and those kinds of things that people understand,
That's
it was
so
different for me.
amazing.
And I was like, oh, I feel energy in my hands.
Yes. Yeah.
That was different for me.
Okay.
That's when things started to change more.
Okay.
And so I started getting into oracle readings and like just doing like random little readings for my friends. And my friends were always like, this is so spot on. And then I started getting a past life oracle deck and doing past life readings, and people would like cry.
Yeah.
And they would be like, yeah. And then I would talk to them about fears that they have now in this life.
How
and
it has it come over or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the people were like, this is insane. How do you know that? And it's like, okay, well, I don't really know. I'm just being a vessel for a channel.
Right.
And so I might not even remember half of the stuff I'm telling you because it's not for me, it's for you.
Exactly.
I'm just being open.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what people don't understand when it comes to channeling too. But I love it because I love when people come to me and they're like, you help me with this, this, and this. You help me understand and realize these things.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love that.
It's so
I don't
rewarding,
remember some
right?
of the things I say.
Yeah, same.
it's
I
not
don't
me.
I don't remember either when I've done readings. They're like, remember when you told me this? I'm like, no. Can you refresh my memory? Because no, it's not our information to remember,
No,
right?
it's
To
not
hang
for
on
us.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'll remember bits and pieces, and like,
Yeah.
yes, I'll remember having a session with you, but I won't remember in grave detail of
Mm-hmm.
like what those things were for you.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I'm okay. That's too much energy to hold on to. If we did that to every single person that we had readings for, we would be so gunked up. Like, especially if you don't know how to clear your energy, and some
That's
people
true.
really don't. And that's
Yeah.
like been a key factor in like that whole turn off thing.
Uh-huh.
That took me like 5 years to really learn,
Wow.
like how to turn it off.
So,
Sometimes,
because explain to everyone what you'd go out and you would just see everybody's auras and
yeah.
all the
Or
colors.
I'd get
and
like overwhelmed by energy, and I would get like this unexplainable anxiety where I felt like I was just like claustrophobic and couldn't breathe, and I'd
Yeah.
be like, I feel like nobody will leave me alone. I also feel like there's just so much going on. I don't know what to do.
almost like an energy attack.
It
Kind
did.
not necessarily that you were getting attacked.
No, but it attacks your energy.
Yeah.
Because when we are the people that we are, we're like crystals. We absorb energy around us, right?
Yes.
And so when we're around people and they're unaware of their conscious states or who they are spiritually,
Yes.
they're kind of just throwing shit at you and you don't even know it. And you're just like, whoa, I didn't need to know this.
I did not ask for that.
Sometimes I have to dismiss people's like guardians or like their like spirits that want to come to me and talk to me like in the middle of certain conversations, because I'm like, you didn't ask if I had space to even channel for you, so I actually need you to
So
back
you
up.
get that when you're out, because I've had that happen a couple times being out in public, maybe more of in a social setting around people I know.
Yeah.
And
Of course,
you'll
yeah.
start getting stuff and it's like, wait a minute, what do I do? You know?
Like,
So-
do I want to sift through this right now? I'm not really
right?
sure. Yeah.
It's so
And so
true.
sometimes I have to be like, okay, here's my blue bubble. I love every single being of light and everything else, but
Right.
you cannot come through me right
Yeah,
now.
you can't talk to me
I'm
right now.
sorry, not right now. And this is time and place. They need
Yes.
to know boundaries too.
Right.
Spirits don't know boundaries. That is something people don't talk about. They
That's
actually
so
don't.
true, huh? They just
Yeah.
come whenever.
Yeah,
Oh, hey.
exactly.
We're ready to tell you some whatever about whoever. And I get it at nighttime a lot
Oh,
when I go to
yeah.
bed. Yeah.
I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, yeah, and that was, I mean, just playing with cards and just making sure I stayed open, I think was the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept remaining being that person and being like this now and just paying attention to my body's reactions and everything.
Yes.
And then it kind of just started coming together like a puzzle piece. And then I was like, oh, this isn't really like normal, but like it's normal for some people that understand
Yeah,
me.
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly.
That was
How,
weird.
so over the 5 years of you learning how to turn it off, that's a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 'cause-
How, like, what are some of the practices or steps you took to turn that off?
So the blue bubble thing.
Okay.
So every time I have a morning ritual routine where I am saging myself, I'm journaling, and
Every morning?
and I put myself in
Awesome.
like a blue egg bubble, and I'm only asking for my guides and my angels and any deities and good energy to only ever come through me with my permission. Keyword, with my permission.
Awesome.
And I would
love
like
that.
to keep myself safe in my own bubble. I do not want to feel anybody else's things. This is like, I just have intentions. I just set
Yeah.
my day with intentions.
Okay.
And sometimes it changes. The blue
Right.
bubble and the other part is kind of just the main thing. But whatever I'm feeling that morning, I tend to just
You just
speak
go with
into
it.
myself, because it's a channeled message even for me, through me, for my own intention of keeping myself
Right.
safe. Obviously I would say like rings or certain things that make you feel protected at all times. Like gold is something that's really close to me because it just makes me feel like I have a golden aura so that I can block out any black light.
Okay.
So like there's nothing dark that can come into me. I have like certain rings, like this one is the ring that I got in Sedona for like marrying myself. So this is a commitment to myself, but it's a pyrite, so it protects me in the ways that pyrite holds energy for me.
Oh my
It even has like a
gosh.
little loop on it. It'll come back to myself every time.
Oh my
This one's with
gosh.
my best friend that I have, that I live with. And then this one is for, you know, the earth and then the sky, because it's brown and then it's blue on the top. I don't know if y'all can
Yeah.
see that.
It's turquoise, right?
But yeah, it's
yeah.
turquoise
Yeah.
and I think it's coral. Coral and turquoise.
I
Red coral
love
and turquoise. So I just have intentions with like that kind of stuff that like
I
keeps
love
me
that.
safe.
Because see,
like
I
a
always
blanket.
put beads on, yeah,
See?
or yeah, and I have like turquoise rings. I do the same thing,
Yeah.
and I just kind of pick out for the day what I feel I need,
Yeah.
and I do feel, or I'll even wear. I don't have them on today, but I wear Kabbalah beads
Yeah.
on as a bracelet. It's a necklace, and I just twist it, and I always usually wear that on my left
Yeah.
to keep things
Yeah.
away.
And that's also your feminine side, right? So
Yeah.
you're like keeping your feminine energy sacred for yourself, not for other
Yes.
people.
That's amazing. I
Yeah.
didn't think about that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I
welcome.
just
I
love
know
all
we-
this because I just learned so much. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So you do all the stone stuff, the intentions, and then
Intentions are
you,
huge.
yeah, and then you go about your day.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like that something or there's energy that you come in contact with that's trying to get through to you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All the time. I definitely, I'm still human. I have my reactions sometimes, or something can really actually throw me off if I'm not ready for it. But I also think that that's what we learn from the most, to
Uh-huh.
practice the things that we preach, right?
Yes.
So I definitely do have the moments where like things will come through a lot stronger than others, but that's where I've been able to, I think, notice when it's like kind of like a knock on my aura. Of like a
Okay.
knock on the door, and I'm either
Uh-huh.
like I accept it or I decline it.
Okay.
Or if I go into the intention of like being in this space, like my
Mm-hmm.
intention was to be open and to not really have things closed off. So anything
Uh-huh.
that does come through, that's cool too.
Yeah.
So I think it's just everything is with intention. Like I started learning about magic when I was in my teenage years too. I
Okay.
started researching candle magic. I started researching herbs and like certain things like that. Like also egg cleanses. Like I got super into like Hispanic types of medicine and magic healing because
Really?
I thought it was really intriguing, and like my lineage is
Wow.
Hispanic, so I think that
Uh-huh.
it caught my eye
Right.
certainly.
You would naturally probably be
Yeah.
drawn to it or
So I like
interested.
love egg cleanses. I love reading egg cleanses in the water, like seeing what's actually going on with your energy and everything like that.
Wow.
And candle magic is amazing. I love candle magic. So I just like magic in general. Magic just kind of feeds my heart and soul.
See, so Chelsea's kind of on the witchy magical side too.
Aw,
Like,
love
is this like
that.
just? Are you like, uh-huh? But
She's like,
candle
yes, yes.
candle magic. Have you
Yeah.
heard of candle magic?
Yeah, I'm sure she has. If you're into magic and everything like
Yeah.
you are, I'm sure you've heard of all the different kinds of magic. And there's so many kinds. Like I even, and not because I like the dark stuff, but I like to
Uh-huh.
be aware of it, because if you're going to fight light, you have to know what you're fighting with the dark sometimes. Like
That
that's
makes
just really real.
sense. Yeah.
That's, like being a
Mhm.
human, that's just obvious in my book, because
Mhm.
unfortunately, when I was 18, came across a lady that was not a good woman who practiced voodoo and practiced like super scary practices. And she was
Wow.
terrifying. And I don't know if she's still here in Utah, but she's from Florida, and she's not very fun to she got me too. And I really trusted her too. And at the end of the
Uh-huh.
day, she tried to curse me. And
Oh no.
I was like, this is really ironic of you to do, but I know magic. So now I'm going to take all the photos we have together and I'm going to bind it with red ribbon, and I'm going to burn them. I'm going to drown them. I'm going to bury it. I'm going to light a candle, and then I'm going to put a bunch of herbs on top of your little grave, and I'm going to tell you to go away. Haven't heard from her since.
Good.
That's
good.
nothing's happened to me ever since. So, and that was all intuition too. Like I didn't
Yeah.
like most magic for me has been intuitive based on the knowledge that I've retained from learning.
Uh-huh.
And then I kind of am just able to feel that energy and be like, this one, that one, this. So yeah, I use a lot of
That's
like
super
different
cool.
ribbons for certain things too, because ribbons can, identify with like cutting cords and
Yeah.
burning them and all those great things. I'm sure you
Wow.
get that too.
I think
like those.
It is. It's intention too, right? Like I haven't ever had intention to want to harm anybody ever,
Right.
because I'm just never have been that person.
right.
But harm done to me, I'm gonna send it back to you.
Yeah.
10 times fold, because
Yeah.
you don't deserve to send that to me in the first place, and karma's gonna do it for you anyways.
Right.
So
Especially
yeah. Well, and that's what I feel like. I feel like I have like this whole football team of like guys that are like, "Oh, you want to go?" And she tells me, when she gives me the green light, I'm going in the
Yeah.
ethers. Like I'm gonna go, and I'm like,
They're coming for you.
Yeah. I'm like,
I
so
love
when I
that.
green light my people in my back of my, who support me, and
Your team.
yeah, my
Yeah.
team. And like I've even got I've really always have been into altars and like those kinds of things. So
Uh-huh.
like I give my guides and deities, I give them flowers, I give them fruit, chocolate, honestly whatever they want. Sometimes they want wine. Like
Yeah.
they just want to enjoy the things that we get to enjoy too, energetically, even if they're not able to physically have them. And so like I
my
actually give to them
gosh.
too, to give thanks for the things that they do for me as well, so that they don't ever feel used. And so that's just kind of another big thing that I've been doing since I was like 16, and I'm 25. So this has been 9 years of like,
You're blowing my freaking mind right now. For real.
it's been a long time. And when I tell people like I've done it from such a young age, they're just like, what? And I'm like, I don't know. You just find your things, you get
And
into them. And I didn't care that I was the weird kid. I didn't have friends in high school. I
Yeah.
had like one boyfriend. I graduated early.
Uh-huh.
only had like a few, like I really only had like so much going on because I was just always over there. But on the opposite, do we? We need to be friends then outside of this now that we've met. But outside of all of that, the really human part of me that was like, because yes, there's the spirituality and all these great things that I knew, but like there was also my human trauma. Okay.
Yep.
And so within that human trauma, I actually, I put myself in a lot of scary situations. I got into like going into hookah lounges. I got into clubs that are 16 years old. I even have the flyer from my 16th birthday turning 21. Yeah, it was called Circle Lounge at the time. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, Circle Lounge through my 21st birthday party. I was 16.
When you were 16.
I was 16. Like I was so I was like, I was kind of a naughty kid.
Yeah.
I think I followed
Mischief.
my trauma.
Yeah.
I tried to be an adult when I didn't need to be, but I felt that way as a child too my whole life. So I just felt, and that's kind of what Taco was saying when she was like, you've had so many lives within this one life.
You've been there, done that.
Yeah, literally. She's like, you just wanted to bag every experience you could, apparently. And like, I don't like regret it, honestly. Like, I think it really built me to be the character of the woman that I am now. And so it's nothing that I regret, but definitely like having any kids moving forward when I do, I wouldn't want them to do those things that I did because like, God knows I could have been kidnapped, sex trafficked, like, especially back then because it's like wasn't super popular or common for people. But if I would have went missing, I would have been missing.
Yeah.
I was out on the streets with people that are older than me till like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I would be hanging out with them till 8 a.m. and then go home, lie to my mom where I was. Like, you know, I was mischief. I was definitely doing not the great things. My mom even, this cop caught me and my friends coming out of the hookah lounge once and pulled me over and like called my mom, and he told her, he was like, I don't know why she's around all this gang violence. I don't know what she's doing over here. Like she shouldn't be here. I didn't care. I thought I was cool.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, I'm an adult. I can do it.
I'm invincible.
I would like go out on the weekend and go to school and hang out with my friends at school and like talk about my weekends, and they'd be like, what? What are you? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's fine. I'm alive.
You're out there living on the edge.
Literally. And so like when people talk about their party stages in their 20s,
you're like,
I
already
did that.
yeah.
I've been there, done that. The best friend I live with now, when I was younger, she didn't know the age that I was too, but she was older than me and able to buy me alcohol too, and she didn't even know my age. Like I guess I had everybody just thinking I was older. It wasn't something I tried to do. That was what was crazy.
They
about
just
it.
assumed.
They just assumed I was older.
Own.
Yeah. Nobody like sat there and was like, I don't know.
Let me see your ID, girlfriend.
No, yeah. Like everybody just thought I was older, and so I just kind of went with it, I think. And so I was just like, whatever. But I also feel like that brought me deeper into like finding a center within myself, within like knowing who I am. And again, I don't regret any of those things. I'm really grateful they happened, even if they probably weren't the best thing that happened to somebody my age.
And that you were safe.
Yeah.
Right. For them.
Because of them.
Yeah.
And by them, I mean like my guides and angels. I really don't think that I would have made it through any of those situations had I not had the football team that I talked about. I was not kidding, because I literally think about that all the time. And I like, even as my adult years have gone on, if I'm like sitting in ceremony or something, I'm like, thank you guys. I'm pretty sure you're the reason why I'm still alive. And like one of my biggest awakenings I had was I had done a mushroom journey when I was 17, and I ego deathed because I took 8 grams of mushrooms because my boyfriend at the time was like so keen on giving me the idea of like almost overdosing on mushrooms. So you can't like actually do that. Don't worry, that's not a thing.
Right.
But like it meant you can to get an ego death, and I don't know.
So
people who understand that
Tell us a little bit about the ego death.
So I actually
happens?
don't remember a lot of it, because when you have the ego death, you're essentially leaving your body like a DMT state.
Oh.
Yeah. So have you heard of DMT and what that does to your body?
Not a lot, no.
Okay, so
I'm new. I'm so new.
I got you. I've done so much research on this stuff so that I could understand myself better.
Yeah.
So DMT is actually the chemical that we produce when we are born and when we die.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's like having a whole outer body experience.
Yes.
You're getting like visions, timelines, channeled messages. It's literally so much that's happening at once.
Okay, yeah.
And so essentially ego death is having that, like you have a DMT like state and you leave your body. Oh. And I actually can say that I don't really remember that one like exactly. I just remember my ex waking me up and being like like, oh my God, is she dead? No, I just left my body
You
for
were
a minute casually. It's fine. And so
you were just up here.
I was just up in the ethers flying around doing whatever. I come back into my body and I'm like sitting there and like, I don't remember anything. I don't remember where I am, what my name is, who my mom is. Even if I have family, even if I have a boyfriend, I didn't know who he was, but I wasn't scared. That was what was weird.
Wow.
I was so calm. But he was freaking out, and I was like, "You're not making this easier for me." Like, whatever.
I don't know you, and why are you freaking out?
Yeah, why are you freaking out? And he was like, "Your name is Malori. You're from Utah. You live here." Like, he like actually had to tell me like who
were.
I was
Yeah.
and like where I came from and all these different things. And then maybe like 10, 20 minutes later, I was fine. I came right back to. It was nothing crazy. But for a second there, I just like, I think I was just kind of sitting in the experience of having the ego death, and then he was giving me all this information. And so I was like, whoa, I have their information. I'm getting your information. I'm a little, now I have to like process for a second.
What do you do with all of it, right?
Yeah, it took me probably over a year to really understand everything that happened. Honestly, probably more than that, because I didn't understand what an ego death was at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't understand DMT either. I hadn't never done it. I'd done psychedelics and understood psychedelics and like those kinds of things, because I've always been able to meditate on psychedelics and have those kinds of journeys, but not like a straight up DMT experience. Wow. Now, as an adult, I have had those experiences. I've sat with Bufo and Mimosa, and I've had some very beautiful experiences with them, and have gotten some very great messages, and I'm very grateful for them. So I definitely do love my holistic plant medicines. Definitely, they're not for everybody, but they are for some people, and whatever feels resonant with people, definitely do. Combo, though, is a non-psychotropic. So just so you know, the plant medicine that I serve, or it's not even a plant, it's a frog medicine. It's actually frog from medicine? A frog. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's non-psychotropic, though. It's actually very grounding. And it actually is more about the body and, like, the chemistry. Again, long story short, putting it back into homeostasis. But, yeah, this is a frog from the Amazon jungle that is super docile and is really sweet with the tribes. And only the tribes have connections to it. And you have to like be certified to know people to have a source to even get it. Wow. And so it like is actually a very, very humbling thing to be able to have and do. Yeah. So having it for these almost 4 years now, I'm very grateful. But yeah, I definitely like to play with the medicines. I would definitely say that. Yeah. But that's okay.
Right.
But yeah.
That's so cool though. I mean, but if that's what works for you too, right?
Yeah. I think that's
and where you
because
connect
of the connection thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Honestly. Like and everything that happened with these medicines, they found me. That is the biggest thing I'm always going to tell everybody.
So you weren't like out on a search for anything. Nope. They just like,
like even when I took that LSD that I was talking about, my friend just casually gave it to me and was like, have you ever tried this? And I was like, no. And she was like, we should try it. And I was like, okay. And like, I just trust myself, I guess. and if I get a fuck no from my body, I'll not do something, obviously.
Yeah, right.
But at the end of the day, anytime medicine has came into my wheelhouse, I will say, it is just kind of came by itself. It hasn't been something I've ever looked for, which makes it, I think, more special because it was like the right time, right place, right medicine, everything else. And who you get it from is really important too.
Yes. Yeah. That's a huge one for sure.
So, and like, I think mixing those psychedelics at a younger age and then becoming older as an adult, I just kind of still kept with it and never really lost myself in those ways. I lost myself in like human reality in certain ways. Like, I mean, combo, even with what it's done for me and changing my lifestyle and like the way that I eat and all those great things, I've lost over 100 pounds from it.
Wow.
Yeah, because it really actually helps your body do what it needs to do to function how you're supposed to function, especially in a world full of chemicals, hormone injected animals, and all these crazy things that we have to be careful about what we consume and what we put around our bodies. And
we just talked about that last episode.
Really?
And I've been kind of starting a little
research
and I don't know, like, should I really be eating that kind of thing? You know,
and like you're here for human experience, right? I always say nothing is bad in small amounts. Like, you're not ever going to die from having something in a small amount. And it's actually detrimental to completely take something away from yourself rather than let that inner child have it sometimes.
Right.
So me as a person, because I'm who I am, I don't eat bread. But if I'm craving bread one day, I'm going to eat bread.
Yeah.
I'm human. My inner child wants comfort food. I'm going to do it sometimes.
Yeah.
Do I know it's not the best for my body? Yeah.
Right.
I can agree to that and I can know that. But I'm not going to hold on to the guilt of having that and consuming it, because that's what makes it worse. It's that intention.
Yeah.
If you have the intention of being like, yeah, I'm doing this because I'm happy and I deserve it, it's going to go right through. It's not going to matter. Oh, I really shouldn't be eating this. This is going to make me do da-da-da-da-da. You're already speaking that intention into your food.
That's so
Don't
true.
consume it then.
That's so true. Because I don't eat bread either, because I discovered the wheat thing.
Celiac stuff and all that.
Yeah. Well, I can eat. I'm not celiac.
Okay, I know some people who are, and that's just because of the way that we produce bread here. But if you
Yeah.
go to Italy and you eat their bread, you eat their pasta, you're fine.
Yeah.
It's just the U.S. Like, when we're talking about like food in general, like, it's primarily here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
It's not like, as if you look at other countries, they ban a lot of what we eat here. But yeah, anyways, so I just have been on this whole journey of like health, spirituality, physical health, of like working out. I recently have found a love for yoga because of my best friend. I used to like loathe yoga. Like, I'm sorry to all my yogis out there, but I used to like loathe yoga, and I was like, no, I don't want to do this. This is too hard. My body doesn't want to bend that way. And like recently this year, I'm like, I love it.
Yeah.
And I've done it more than I've ever done in my life. And like, I'm even going to go to a hot yoga class tonight with my best friend.
Nice.
Yeah.
But that's kind of too the spiritual side of you too, right?
Yeah. I think that like the consciousness and like evolving through spirituality had brought me into it more, for sure.
Yeah.
And so like I've just had all these journeys of like finding myself through others, seeing the reflection of who I am and who I don't want to be in other people, and just learning and just keep going from that, and just keep climbing those hills and going down them sometimes, because, you know, like they say, your journey's not linear. It is
right, up and down.
literally up and down.
That's so interesting. You being so young, after talking to you and you sharing your story, I feel like, oh my gosh, what is this girl going to do next?
I don't know. This is what I was saying. This is why, like, when you guys asked me to be on the podcast, I was like, oh, this is new for me. I don't know what to do right now.
Well, it's going to be fun to see what happens with you. Like, we'll have to do updates.
Yeah, I would love to do updates, for sure.
Now what you got going on?
Yeah, like, even
what's new?
Everything that happened with that woman that I recently moved back with from Texas, like I was saying, after I cut cords with her, my intention was to find a barber apprenticeship. Found that within 2 weeks of being home.
That's so amazing.
And now I'm about to start working in the barber shop, like by the end of this month, beginning of next month. Like, I'm already almost done with my apprenticeship.
Wow.
I meet with Taco. She gives me an amazing reading, and all of a sudden, all these dominoes and all these puzzle pieces,
it just
like
falls
Tetris.
Yeah. It falls into place.
Literally.
Yep.
And then when she sent me about you and like connected us together, I'm just in surrender. Like, I think that it really took me getting out of my masculine energy because of everything I'd went through traumatically as a human being and all those great things. It took me a while to come into this like surrender of being a feminine woman. And like, now that I've like completely started to surrender, everything has been happening for me. And that's like my biggest thing to tell people, is everything happens for us, not to us.
I resonate with that so much, the surrender part, because I felt like that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just surrendering, and whatever will be, will be.
Yeah, exactly.
And let it come in. And it has been really, really easy. And
that's how it should be.
The surrender, that really resonates.
Like, even with combo, me and my best friend just did it the other day, and I put 2 dots on the inside of both of our ankles, and or our knees, ankles, hello. These are our knees. And my intention was to surrender more. And again, things just keep happening for me. And you texted me, I think, a day after I did combo.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting too.
Wow.
Yeah. So like, I just go and keep my hands up, and I just have discernment with whatever's going on.
Yeah.
But My journey has been basically a lifelong journey. It hasn't been anything where something like sparked anything in me completely besides those like few key moments that I've talked about. But
Right.
and also like I would definitely say the two teachers that I had that are not great people that I learned from
Mm-hmm.
taught me how to be like to turn the perspective around.
Right.
They taught me where and how I want to be the practitioner and the energy holder and all the things that I am now because I don't want to do what they did to other people. I don't want to they take
Yeah.
power from others. I
Right.
want to help people see their own power,
Yes.
not take from
Yes,
theirs.
girl. Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah, and so that's why I like serving combo and stuff too. And so like for people that don't know what combo is, it's peptides. And it's all just peptides and it has to go through your lymphatic system. So yes, you do have to burn the little first two layers of your skin.
Oh
Goes
my
through the
gosh.
lymphatic
Really?
system. Yes, it's very tribalistic. Obviously, 'cause it comes from the Amazon, and the
Uh-huh.
Matse tribes are the ones that have this. And there's like a whole story. We don't know exactly what tribe it originates from, but there was an older man, and his whole tribe started getting sick, and so he meditated and like got messages and everything to use the frog's medicine to heal his people, and it worked.
Wow.
Yeah, and so like in the Amazon for these kinds of people, this is really big for them. Like they give it to babies as young as 3 months old
Really?
because it helps with malaria, helps with
The
dengue,
disease.
jungle fever, like all of these like crazy diseases that they have to battle every day.
Wow.
So it's called the vaccination of the jungle.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
this is so weird we're talking about the peptide thing because so I have a friend
Hmm.
and she she works, I don't want to give out personal information,
I
of
know.
course, but
Same. I'm like talking about these people. I'm like, I can't say names.
yeah, she went in a home to do like a home inspection kind of thing.
Hmm.
And she got accused of stealing some sunglasses and peptides.
Oh,
And she was like, "What are peptides?" I'm like, I don't know. I am. She was, I don't. Why would I steal something? I don't even know what it is. Now I can tell her what it is.
yeah. So, and they come on bamboo sticks. So, like,
Okay.
they're taking this frog and they're taking the secretion, they put it on a bamboo stick, and that's how it gets here to the US. Because if you take
Wow.
that frog out of its environment, it won't
Ew.
produce the same chemicals. Because really, what it is a defense mechanism for their predators. And it doesn't do this to us necessarily, but when those predators try to get the
Uh-huh.
frogs, it puts them in like a weird, like not hallucinogenic, but they're like stunned.
Yeah.
Like they can't move. And then they're just kind of frozen
So they
for like
can
up
get
to
away.
like 20 minutes so they can get away.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, some random awesome tribe man just decided to
Figured it
be a
out.
shaman and decided
Yeah.
to heal his whole tribe. And so now we have it here and it's getting more popular. It's pretty popular in Texas,
Uh-huh.
especially in Dallas and Austin areas. And the place that I got certified was in Creede, Colorado. They're called Tribal Detox. They're actually a very good school because he doesn't even like we're talking about spirituality and everything,
Right.
but he's actually way more for just like the scientific side of what combo does.
Yeah.
He doesn't discredit anybody in their spirituality and the things that they do. He honors those things and those parts of those people, but
Right.
he wants to just make sure people are safe while serving.
Yeah.
You want to add your own twist. You want to be the person that you are and do it how you want to do it. He's fine with that.
Yeah.
Obviously, as long as you're not hurting people.
Of
But
course.
he's got an amazing program and he is a really great guy. And
Wow.
he just got married to his wife recently and she's actually just a really cool woman too. And I don't know. I just think again, everything just kind of happened for me and
Yeah.
it's just happened the way that it needs to. And
Comes when
Yeah.
it needs to, comes to you.
yeah, so
That's
what
so
combo
cool.
is kind of summed up, and it just helps with so many things. Like,
So you say you're certified.
Mhm.
And so do you practice here in Utah?
Mhm.
Awesome.
yeah. So if anybody in Utah wants to get my information, I can give it to you to post it if you would like to. But
yeah, I would love that. Yeah.
And so I came with the name tetramorphic because I grabbed a dictionary and
Uh-huh.
I just flipped open to a page and I was
And
like,
there it was.
yeah. And tetramorphic just means 4 or more elements that combine into the unison of one.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, like, being a barber, doing combo,
Uh-huh.
basically an energy worker. I'm working on getting a Reiki practitioner license, so I have a certification, so people,
Right.
obviously you want to cover all your things.
Right.
But and then being a card reader and everything, I'm just like, well, that all follows under one umbrella. I am tetramorphic because I have the unison of things in my being.
That is so wild. I mean,
Yeah.
I sit here and get blown away, and I'm sure you feel this way sometimes too, where you think, wait, how did that just happen? Or, well, that came in at the right time. And it's just amazing how everything just can come together and come into our lives, and it's there when it's supposed to be. And it still freaks me out.
It freaks me out too. I'll be in my car sometimes alone listening to a song, and I'll either be crying, dancing, laughing, singing the song, or I'm like, yes, this is my life. But like I'm all excited.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I'm like, oh my God, this is my life. Like the first time we ever did like a super big group combo ceremony, and like there was 3 of us practitioners serving, I think 12 people in like a circle in a yard one time. It got done and everybody left, and like we started to clean up, and I just like had a full on like breakdown of being like so grateful to feel like I'm feeling a purpose for something in my life. And that's what really made it stick for me.
Yeah. Where you get overwhelmed with that emotion, right?
Yeah, I literally had to hug the ground. I literally was like grabbing the grass, and I was just crying into the ground, and I was like, thank you.
What an amazing though experience.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I freaking love that.
Yeah. And I even want to go to another combo school. Her name is Caitlin Thompson, and she runs an amazing program, and I just want to even go learn from her too.
Yeah. The more, there's never, like, we'll never know enough.
No.
Right.
And she's got crazy knowledge because she has done like scientific research with it.
Wow.
Yeah. I really look up to her. I watch her page a lot.
That's so cool. We were talking about this stuff last episode too. It's so funny how all this is just kind of, again, meshing together. The guests I've had on, and with the plant medicine and the scientific side of it, meeting the spirituality side of it. The spiritual side of it.
Science goes into that energy field. Like, I mean, scientists are not new to the fact that they can read energy or that they can see it. Just they're not really talking about it.
Right. Yep.
I mean, we're made of electrolytes, right? Like, if we don't have enough electrolytes in our body, we literally die.
Yeah.
We're electricity. We are energy.
Yep.
Yes, this has to pump, but also there's got to be enough salt in this body and electric
to make everything work.
Why do you think we shock people to bring them back to life?
Right.
Like, let's put 2 and 2 together maybe a little bit, you know?
The math is so easy, right?
Exactly. And like the math is mathing. So.
Right? It's all working.
And I mean, I feel that way even about like cards and like, astrology, human design, like all of these things, like everybody separates them, but like what if we actually put them together to make like, like a 3D print frame book, and like really realize that they work with each other rather than against each other? Or like how yoga has your doshas. Doshas are huge too, but doshas can really work with your human design, and they would make sense if you knew that. Same with your astrology.
Yes.
And they're all great. Nothing's bad. I don't think there should be hierarchy over one or the other.
I don't
and that's
either.
where like I struggle with people in general, because I'm like, I think they're all valid. I think they're all magic. And I think they all have a purpose.
Yes.
But where can we like maybe hold hands together and
a
use
little
them
bit,
together,
right?
rather than like, no,
be friends.
You over there.
Yeah. Because everybody's different, and well, Chelsea has talked to me a little bit about the human design stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, we need to pull your chart because it's made so much sense for my energy in general.
Yeah. Human design has helped me a lot too. My sister got me into it.
Yeah.
I don't know like all the specifics on the whole chart, but I'm just like, I know I'm a projector. I know I'm like 4/6.
One, though. Projectors
Yeah.
aren't common. Generators are. I'm a generator.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm a generator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, we got to find out what I am then now.
Watch her be like a manifesting generator. We have all types.
Right.
We just need one more. Because there's the reflector, the projector, generator, and a manifesting generator. I think that's all of them. I don't know all of them either. So people that do know this, don't come for me, please.
Right.
Like, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I'd say I probably know a little bit more about astrology than I do about that, but I still don't even know I think I maybe know a quarter
Yeah.
of astrology than there is, because
There's
there's
just
so much.
yeah, there's so much with
Yeah.
all of it. And
Yeah.
every time I meet someone, I'm just like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, flabbergasted and so excited to hear all this new stuff,
Yeah.
you know, because of course, we're all still learning. And that's the whole idea is to,
Yeah.
you
And we
know,
never stop learning. And that's
right.
where people discredit their journeys. Like me, like, yeah, I've done all these things and I'm where I'm at right now, but I know I still have so much more to learn.
Yes.
Like, I'm not done learning anything. I'm not
Right.
done doing, like, and that's where your ego will stop you. Like, I'm
Yeah,
ready.
exactly.
I'm good. I know it all.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
We're never
Not
done.
even going to pretend. Like,
No.
no.
I so
Like,
agree
there's still
with
more
that.
about psychedelics I want to learn more about.
Mm-hmm.
And how they work with other kinds of people and all of those great things.
Yeah.
Because that matters too.
Yeah.
Not for everybody. So
No.
how can we talk to people about certain things?
It's so true. I love this. Oh my gosh. So you talked a little bit to me before we went live about the person that came in and kind of talk a little bit about that.
The one that I moved from Texas
Yes.
with?
Yes.
Okay.
We don't have to get into great
Yeah.
detail, but I want you just to share a little bit of your story and how you
Yeah, so just like have some discernment with people who put themselves above you and make you feel like you don't know anything, because technically we all know everything. We're just getting access to it. That's how I see it.
Yes. Makes
So this
sense.
woman was very manipulative and very narcissistic, to put it in like therapist terms, because she seeks out people that are younger than her and that have trauma, and she likes to project that trauma onto those people. And she did it to me personally. So I think that she does what she thinks is really normal to get people to, you know,
Draw 'em in.
make them trust you, do all these things. And then as soon as she kind of gets you, she turns into a different person. Like, it would get to the point where I was like, I feel like I'm holding space for you too. And like, yes, she would say that I was, but at the end of the day, it would be about her. This woman literally told me she thinks she's God.
Oh.
So anybody who says stuff like that, like, please run.
Yeah.
Please run.
That's scary.
That's what made me start to question her. And none of her stories started to add up. And so it really started to make me concerned for myself and my own mental health and well-being.
Thank God you recognize
That's giving culted.
Yeah.
And that's what I told your mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because when I got to know her more, I moved out to Texas with my sister and her. And this woman basically essentially tried to isolate me from my family and psychically imprinted on me. And this is all telling you, she was trying to tell me things about my family that they did to me, like saying that my father molested me, that I was a part of sexual ritual cult abuse, which is like through, you know, religion sometimes. And I'm not saying these things don't not happen. I know that they happen, and I'm not discrediting people's stories in those ways.
Right.
I just know that's not my story.
Right.
I have sexual trauma, and I think she fed off of that, because I've had 4 different people sexually traumatize me, and through the span of 4 years old to 16 years old.
Wow.
And so
That's a long time.
Yeah, and it was hard. And so I think she saw that, and she tried to project something onto me that made me feel like it was cult abuse, while trying to brainwash a cult like behavior group through her own things. And it got to a point where I'm so psychic in certain ways that when we would do medicines and other things, I would have memories that were not mine. And I would feel like things were mine or that weren't mine. And it would be very confusing. And she would just be like, yeah, no, that's yours. Like, this did happen to you.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. That's psychic imprinting. If somebody can put you in a state where they can actually project images, thoughts, feelings, all of that onto you in any type of way, that's them psychically imprinting on you.
Wow.
And it's really scary. And it really does happen. And I'm really glad I started to see through it, because I don't know what would happen if this woman was still around.
Right.
And so it got to a point where, like, I just was like, what is this about your story? This and that about your story? And she could barely answer any of these questions or things. And I was like, okay, well, now I just think you're fake. And I was like, what was it? We served her Bufo. And when I served her Bufo, I didn't do it because I didn't feel resonant to sit with the medicine at the time, even though she made me feel like shit for it. And that's
Wow.
another thing too. She would always make me feel like crap if I didn't want to do medicine. That's also a red flag. If
Right.
your body is saying fuck no to sitting with something, do not sit with
Right.
it. Don't do it. And I had to be stronger than her and basically say no, even though she told me I was just hiding and didn't want to see myself or my trauma. That's bullshit.
Wow.
No, I'm uncomfortable because you're making me uncomfortable.
Right.
And so that night that I served her bufo, she came out of it and I could just feel the false
Mm-hmm.
energy, like the falseness of her story. And there is things that happen to her that are very traumatic that I will validate that I know are real, especially due to like other sources. Like
Yeah.
I know that some of the stuff is true, except the SRA stuff is not true.
Yeah.
And that's where I draw a line, and I don't think that's okay, because when it does happen to people, that's really real for them. You can't,
Mm-hmm.
don't say things don't happen. Like, don't say that.
Right.
I don't know why you're doing
Right.
that. And so I felt like this falseness come over her, and she like wouldn't talk. And that was what was weird. Every time we've ever done medicine, her ego doesn't shut up.
Oh.
And she's constantly like, this is happening. This is coming through me. This is that. Da, 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 like making it a show.
Uh-huh.
But this time it was different, and it was quiet, and it was weird. And I felt like she were there energetically and like hiding from me.
Right.
And so I went and got my cards, and I went and shuffled cards, and I was pulling cards, and it was telling me that she was hiding from herself. Fire in an addict was one of the cards.
Wow.
Like, you're lying to yourself.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And it was basically telling us that she needs to be alone, and that I need to basically separate from her, and that we aren't supposed to, like, it was kind of like them telling us it's the end of our friendship. And I kind of didn't want to believe it at first, because I still really loved her. I still really
Of
cared about
course.
her at the time.
Yeah.
And come to find out, in that journey, I was reading what she went through in the journey, because she came out of it eventually, and she was like, I see us separating. And I was like, oh, I already know. I pulled the cards.
Wow.
And she was like, she couldn't tell me why though. And I was like, that's what's weird, is she would never not tell me what was going on, because at that point we were like best friends.
Okay.
And I was like, sure. And then also this woman said that had I like pursued her as romantically,
Oh.
that she would have pursued it back. That's messy. You're my teacher. You're basically saying that you're like my mother, and then you're basically telling me that if I had been romantic towards you, even if it wasn't sexual, you would have done it back to me, but that would have been on my own accord.
Yeah.
That's so creepy.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of stuff that happened with her, and this all happened within the last 4 months of staying in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And that really is what triggered me a lot too, because I do have feminine trauma with certain women. And so I was like, why I thought, do you not know how to separate friendships? Do you not have boundaries? Come to find out, she's crossed boundaries with people's husbands in ceremonial spaces, and not like has had sex with them, from what I know, but has like crawled on their lap and has gone like in their face like this close, and has whispered stuff to them, like very much spiritual psychosis, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely hope this person gets help and understands that she might be mentally ill because of how many psychedelics and all the things that she's done to be in an egoic state that she's in.
Yeah.
And that's real. And I say that confidently, because I went through so much with her. And so when we were serving Bufo and that separation moment happened, I didn't tell her this, but I had a dream at least a couple weeks prior that we were moving back to Utah.
Wow.
And I didn't want to tell her that, because my ego was like, I don't want to tell people I'm moving back. That means I failed. That means I didn't do something right. That means I'm not, like, I didn't finish, or da-da-da-da-da.
Right.
Those were all her projections of her insecurities onto me.
Yeah.
Now that I understand why I was feeling that way. And then we talked about it, and we kind of had a heart to heart, and we both decided that moving back to Utah was the best thing. And then that's when energy shifted again already.
Yeah.
And then she kind of started being a little bit more rude, and she started kind of just being her true self, I think, rather than pretending. And I can't say that she didn't teach me a lot of things. She did. She taught me a lot about nutrition. She taught me a lot about how to keep my body healthy. All the things that we talked about a little bit earlier, I did learn a lot from her. And I will give her those credits of those things that are due.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, her intentions aren't true. Right. And so having to be able to separate from her, and I come home and I start getting back into the spiritual community, because the Academy of Logic and Light, I've got two really good friends who are like the foundation of that. And it's
Mm-hmm.
for people that want to be a part of anything. Like you could come to these events and I think that you
Yeah.
would love them. And I'll
Yeah.
give you
Oh,
that
yeah.
information later. Like
Please.
these are like sound baths, these are breathwork
Yeah.
classes, these are people who are doing card reading classes. Like you would love this stuff. And I'll
Oh,
give you guys
wow.
I have a flyer in my car too. But anyways,
Awesome.
the Academy of Logic of Light. And I'm very grateful that they had let me back into this
Mm-hmm.
place, because what had happened was this woman came between all of these women in this group and
Mm-hmm.
triangulated like she does with everything. And then she told me about like all these false things about them, saying this about me and like this isn't right. And so when I came back to Utah, I was like, hey, I would really like to connect with you and get y'all's side of the story, because I just decided to take somebody's side and run with it. And at the end of the day, now I don't know that her story is even true.
Right.
And so come to find out a lot of different information about her and the truth of everybody else's story. And I was like, I can't say that I know who you are. And now I feel like, in terms of like a metaphor, I feel like I laid in bed with the devil
Yeah.
and I didn't even know it.
Wow.
And I just was blinded by it, because I'm just like this innocent puppy dog girl who like really loves people. And when I really love you, I really love you, and I'm loyal. Like that's just who I
Right.
am.
Yeah.
And so I chose my loyalty for her over the truth of everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And so now finding out these truths and finding out the truth of like the SRA stuff and all this other things, I'm literally like, who were you
Wow.
this whole time? What were your intentions with me this whole time? Were you trying to start a cult? What were you trying to do? I don't know if you have ever heard of Mother God, the
Mm-mm.
documentary series, or if she has either. Have you? Okay, it's on HBO Max or Hulu. And I don't know if some of y'all have, but like it
Apparently, I
literally
need to watch it.
You should, because if you want to really understand kind of what I went through without being as deeply brainwashed as the people that are in that cult were,
Uh-huh.
that is her.
Wow.
Yeah, she tried to basically gaslight me into saying, and there's nothing against this either. Like everything that I'm saying is because of my own personal preference.
Right.
I want monogamy.
Mm-hmm.
I want a husband. I want a husband. I want kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
She tried to gaslight me into saying that I needed more than one man pillar, saying that like I basically needed to be polyamorous because of the person that I am.
Oh my gosh.
And that's fine. If you want to be polyamorous, go
Right.
for it. I have friends that are, and I support them. I root
Right.
them on. I love seeing who their new lovers are. I love it. I
Right.
love it for them.
But not for you.
me.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
this woman would pressure that onto me too, because that's what she
Oh my
wanted for
gosh.
herself. But and then also she said the comment about, like me pursuing her, she'd pursue me back. And so I'm like, you're just kind of messy.
Yeah.
And you have zero boundaries, and you want everybody to worship you and love you.
Yeah.
And you don't want to give it back at the end of the day as much as you want to say you do. So yes, watch Woman God.
Woman God.
Or I think it's like Love Wins or something like that. Love Wins, Woman
Okay.
God. You can find it. It's
Yeah,
really easy
yeah.
to find. But this woman died from colloidal silver because she took so much colloidal silver that she literally thought that it was going to heal her alcohol addiction and clean her liver.
Uh-huh.
It helps with your lungs. It has nothing to do. Colloidal silver doesn't do anything to your liver. Your liver's just
So
going to pass it.
She didn't know what she was doing, obviously.
No. And so it's just really ironic. And that's not the lady I'm talking about. That's the Woman God lady. She was the one that like a
Yeah.
lot of people know her because she dyed blue because of the colloidal silver. She she put so much colloidal silver in her body that her skin turned blue.
Oh
at
my
the time that she
gosh.
was dying. Yeah. You guys have to watch it. It's like 4 episodes.
I'm going to
It's
watch
not that
it.
like I binge watched it because it gave me closure from what I just went
Yeah.
through. And I was
How did
like,
you find that?
my friend that's a part of the Academy of Logic and Light, she knew because I had met with her, rekindled my relationship, told her my story. She told me hers. I love her, and I'm so grateful that we're friends again. And she was the one that was like, have you ever seen this?
Mm-hmm.
And she was the second person to tell me this, okay?
Okay.
And so I was like, no, I haven't. And I was like, do you have HBO? Because I don't.
Yeah.
And so we were at her house one day, and I came from the barber shop, and this was like maybe a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago. I came over there from the barber shop, and she was like, we're watching it. And like she gives me like half of her burger. We're eating some fries, and we're watching this freaking show. And I was like, wow, I have never actually been able to like see what I went through.
Wow.
And a different perspective, and like the extremes of the people that followed this woman.
Uh-huh.
I did not get that crazy.
Right.
I started to see through it a lot because we didn't really get close until this last year. Like moving to Texas and like a couple months prior to moving to Texas, that's when I really got close with this person, not the other few years before.
Right.
But yeah. And so when I came back and I rekindled relationships, started to get stories and understand the person that she really was, I sent her, and I was still nice in this voice note, like more nice than I probably should have been. Because also, let me just also preface, this woman is 41 years old. I'm 25.
Wow.
You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what
For
you're
sure.
doing. And when she met me, I was 21, 22.
So you're this
I was 22.
young
Yeah.
little pup, and yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and so, and everybody I talk about this to, I'm like, she got me at such a vulnerable place. I just went right through my face.
Just sucked you in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sucked me in. And I was like, wow.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
You recognized.
Yeah, and I'm glad I had people that still said stuff even though they didn't want to.
Yeah.
Like my sister still would say stuff about her. Like my mom said a few things about her. My best friend Josie, and like, I'm hard-headed. My mom will tell you that. I don't listen to anybody for a lick of shit unless
Right.
it's my own intuition. And I'm just hard-headed that way. I'm learning to be
Right.
better. And I'm learning to like listen to opinions of others, even if I
Right.
don't need to follow an action of it right then and there. But I'm really starting
least
to
hear.
learn to listen and
Yeah.
hear more.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And so I don't think it'll ever happen again. I think that now that I've been through that experience, I could not see that
yeah.
happening again.
No,
but
no.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it taught me how to be really careful with like serving people too. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
I always let everything be my client's choice.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, you have like an optometrist. Like I'm like, you have option A, option B. Which one do you want?
Right.
No? Okay.
You're flipping the lenses.
Yeah, I'm like, which one do you like? Okay,
That's
cool.
so
We'll
cool.
go based off of what you want, not
Yeah.
what anybody else wants.
Right.
Because I'm so hyper vigilant on that now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm really grateful to have gotten out of that. And it's crazy that she was trying to project all this SRA and cult abuse onto me. But at the end of the day, she was basically being a Charles Manson trying to start her own cult.
Yeah.
And I'm like, of course you would project that to make people feel unsafe from this type of world so that they come into your world and do all this kind of stuff with you.
That's just insane.
Yeah, it's literally
Scary.
wild. Yeah.
Well, we're so happy you're here.
I am too. I am too, because I literally was like, I don't think I would have been able to get much further because, again, when everything happened, like, it just started to become a big fuck note in my body.
Right.
And this woman is also, again, 41 years old and was trying to date people my age and younger and, like, in Texas.
Wow.
And, like, yeah, I had
That's
sexual
scary.
relationships with some of them. And I was like, you want to talk about a cult member or a cult leader? Like, you were
Yeah.
trying to do that with
Absolutely.
men. She even tried to do it to a guy here when we moved back. Like, she just thinks everybody needs to be in love with her, that she's in love with everybody, or like her
my
one
God.
ex-boyfriend, Robert, her one ex-boyfriend, she literally was like, he's older, like in his 70s, and she was like, he reminds me of my grandfather. He's like grandfather energy for me, like processing this. And I'm like, but you're sleeping with this man and you're living with him at the end of the day.
Ew.
How do you process that?
Yeah.
How do you make
Ew.
right with that?
She needs therapy.
She needs more than therapy.
Right.
She's literally in psychosis. Like she needs, and that's why I'm saying, like, confidently I say this woman help.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. And then like as soon as again I cut cords and everything, everything's been happening for me.
That's
'Cause
amazing.
she was like succubus energy. She
Yeah.
was taking from me and using my creative manifesting good judge that I need from myself and
Right.
people who do care about me. And she was trying to take it for herself. Like
yeah.
she knew, I think, because she does have gifts.
Yes.
Like in sense of me and Taco, where she can see what is all the way down there, but how can I use what's all the way down there for me?
Yeah.
Not for you.
She's not.
I
using
wonder
it.
how successful she is working or trying to manipulate people like you and her, because you can kind of see through it.
Yeah, and I don't know. She just dipped out and moved to another state again.
Wow.
Because I called her out, blocked me on everything, didn't pay the girl that she was living with the last month of her rent, packed up her stuff while that girl was working and
Left.
before she came home.
Wow.
And then blocked her on everything too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just she'll be on to the
I'm
next,
like, your
right?
karma is, well, yeah, that's what narcissists are. They're just on to their next supply.
Yeah.
If you're
So
not their
true.
supply, they're on to their next supply.
Yep. That's
And
so true.
it's literally energy vampire.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Wow.
I don't know, girl. She's have discernment.
Yes, for sure.
Listen to your people. Yeah.
Yes, be
Unless you
careful.
have to learn the things you need to learn, like I did. Like, again, I'm trying to find grace and gratefulness for the things that I learned from that situation. But
Right.
yeah, it's rough.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Did anybody have any comments or anything to share?
I think those are the only two that it's on.
What
And I think
about-
you could go on Amazon Prime
I was
and
just
rent
gonna
it.
say Amazon Prime.
I definitely know if you just research Mother God Love Wins or whatever, I think it has more than one streaming thing. And it'll be like on that Google streaming thing
Yeah.
underneath there. Yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome.
Queen.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're really mystical and magical.
Thank you. I can't wait for our updates and for
yep.
our friendships to keep blooming.
Yes.
And I would love to see y'all at Academy of Logic and Light. It's a beautiful community of very grounded women in spirituality.
I am totally all about that.
Yeah, and men. Men too.
Yeah.
You're welcome. All children too. Like, it's for like all ages. Like,
Really?
it's for, yeah, everybody
That's
should
so
have
cool.
access to this.
They should,
You
right?
know, like if you want to bring your whole family's into it.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How special,
Yeah.
right?
We're all inclusive.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone who joined us and watched. And if you have any questions that you would like Malori to answer, you can go to the website howdoyouspirit.com and go in the contact spot and we can get questions to her. And if you're interested in, what is it called again?
My website?
Yes.
Tetramorphic. So
Tetramorphic.
yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you can just reach out to her directly then. I didn't know you had the actual website thing.
Yeah,
so that's
Tetramorphic
awesome.
Combo is my website.
Okay.
And then I have Tetramorphic on Instagram. And then, I mean, I have Facebook, but it's just my kid name, which is Rue, and then
Okay.
it's a CERN. But yeah, I've got more than a few.
We'll tag you when I do posts. I'll tag you on
Yes.
Instagram.
And you'll have
Awesome.
everything.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone.